Hi everyone, this is Sky coming on to film an impromptu video about the Mercury retrograde we will be having on May 10th. I'll put the exact details in the description box below of how long that is lasting, but I was just getting some really sudden psychic downloads about that, so I thought I would share those in a brief audio for you all. So yes, we have a Mercury retrograde starting in the sign of Gemini and retrograding back into the sign of Taurus, okay? Interestingly, it will exactly trine retrograde Pluto in Capricorn, activating the Pluto return in the US, and it will also be moving toward Uranus and the North Node in Taurus while being approached by the Sun in Taurus. So we have a very special and very custom energetic experience coming in here that is going to bring about a lot of nostalgia, a lot of different communication styles, and a lot of very, very poignant, striking truths about the space we now find ourselves in. So I want to prepare you all that this particular Mercury retrograde, because it's trining the Pluto retrograde, it's going to really activate the past-oriented aspect of a Mercury retrograde. You know, you may have heard in traditional astrology that it's very possible during Mercury retrogrades to be reached out to by someone from the past, to speak to an ex, to seek closure. And I haven't been feeling them lately as being things like that, though they can be about that now, or this particular one may be more about that, as the way that it's contacting Pluto gives it more of a deep importance and more of a deeply emotional context. So this Mercury retrograde that we're about to experience, while it is moving towards an Earth sign and we're in an Earth season, it's not just going to be about the tangible stuff, though they are also transforming, okay? So certainly a very holistic transformation is definitely in order here. But it's going to be a lot about what do I have to show for, I don't know, honestly, like the entire Pluto and Capricorn duration. So since about 2008, what have I been given over that larger period of time as Pluto has gotten so late in Capricorn, retrograding at 28 degrees, almost hitting that anaretic degree, and Mercury contacting it by such a seamless and beneficial angle means that we're going to get some direct communication about what Pluto has done for us over the last 14 years, about what also the Pluto return in the US might mean for us individually. There's a lot of that coming up. Who will I be in the context of that? There could be a lot of communication at the self level about purpose, also about who I once was, or who one once was, and how that has affected us karmically. So there's a major immediate understanding here. So what an impeccable period of time during the entire duration of this Mercury retrograde to have a simple conclusion. What an impeccable period of time to know who you were and who you now are, and to observe those transformations and to understand the meaning of your own personal transformation. So here we see a real communication of the character arc of oneself, or of the character arc of one's own independent journey. And there could be a turning point coming there with a Jupiter moving towards Aries, with a brand new kind of first-person situation coming in. So we have a duty to heaviness here with this Mercury retrograde, and communicating to ourselves whether the current involvements are an acceptable weight or not. So weight, Mercury retrograde in Taurus. Weight, heavy, lightness. That is the name of the game, and communicating that to the consciousness, communicating that also to people around you. It's very possible during this Mercury retrograde, you might have people in your life saying, breaking up, being it's over, this is too heavy, moving on. If you're an employer, you might have employees saying, this workload is too heavy, I'm leaving. There could be very sudden, catalyst experiences regarding the workload, regarding the load that people have to carry emotionally, professionally, so on and so forth. And you can also hear from people in the past being I didn't realize that I was being so heavy, or I didn't realize that I was being that way, or I now realize the mistake that I made. People are going to realize their mistakes during this transit. And so people across the board. So everybody's human, everybody has those, right? So it's going to be a large revelation for a lot of people about the mistakes that they made, and also about, this is very interesting because this is I don't know what you call this or what this phenomenon is called, but sometimes in life where you think you're going through a really bad situation, or you think that you're in a very subprime experience of life, and then a few years later you look back to that situation and you're like, oh my God, God or the universe gave me every single thing I ever wanted in that moment. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but do you know what I mean? It's kind of trying to illustrate the point, like where we sometimes look back and we're like, that was actually a very happy experience, or that was actually a very wholesome, very holistic, very giving option. But I went through that in first person, feeling heavy, put upon, anxious, panicky, worn out, or as if it was not really an optimum situation for me. So we have a dualistic issue coming up with that, because we have to really understand, why I didn't like that back then, why that was so difficult for me to go through back then, if I now understand it to be what could have been a very holistic, nice thing. And two, we need to also understand why we now feel that what was back then not so great for us was really an optimum situation. Where is the dislocation, and where is the sort of fragmentation there? As I think within understanding this, within understanding that question that is being presented by this Mercury retrograde, like that question of duality, in that is the key to stepping into a lighter paradigm now. Because what I feel for the majority of people, this is not everybody, but the majority of people are in too heavy of an experience now. And perhaps, back in like 2017 or 2019, maybe in a way, some of those situations were too light, or so light that we couldn't stay intact on the ground. And now here in 2022, I'm feeling it more like being pushed into the ground with like heaviness collectively. It's like that polarized switch to the opposite that always happens whenever we get into any kind of extreme, okay? So with Mercury retrograde in Taurus, that's another aspect of it, is like physics and understanding that like weight, while it can be securing, can also be crushing, okay? And it's going to definitely require a new protocol of measurement within our own lives, like understanding, is this too heavy of an experience? Am I overworking myself? Am I taking on too heavy of a workload? Or it's very rare, but there might even be some people who don't have enough and feel like ungrounded, or feel like they don't have enough to do, or feel like, nothing's significant and they're just kind of like floating around. And I definitely think we have a new window into our individual sense of holistic health relating to this duality, and relating to, wanting things outside of the present moment, because maybe that is kind of also a key. And for a lot of people, that issue where, they yearn for the past, but in that moment they weren't like satisfied with it, to me, that's just indicative of a cooling relationship with the present. So we are very future or past oriented when we struggle with something like that. So what that means is that we have a lot of honoring to do of the current present moment. Okay, so here in like May, June 2022, we've got to love it. Okay, we've got to love what we've created to some degree. And even if we can acknowledge that the situation isn't perfect, because I see for so many people, it's kind of a difficult thing of 2022 with the major Piscean energy, and this very advanced Pluto retrograde Saturn also getting very advanced in Aquarius. It's so like suprahuman, it's like getting so lofty. It's getting so like expansive and big in those last three signs that it can really be hard to have assurance, to have security, to have guarantees, to have one feeling in the heart or another. Like we might love someone, we might hate someone, we might be in all different places, because it's such a expansive energy. It's not compact, it's not small. So it really puts the pressure on us to be able to love our current moment, even if it's not perfect, or to be able to institute things that we love, or institute, this sounds so technical, but it's almost like that with the Capricorn energy right now as well. It's like with the Pluto retrograde, it's, as I've said in a Pluto retrograde video that I'm hoping to post, or I plan to say in that video, I've written this down a few times actually to remember it, is like this Pluto retrograde that we're going through in the 2022 cycle of it is not about transformation, okay? Not this one, not getting so close to the energetic degree of Capricorn. It's not a question of what do I change, it's a question of what do I keep, okay? And I definitely encourage you guys to work with that mentality when it comes to, emotional cycles, when it comes to physical things as well. Because I'm feeling like a lot of people need a nice trimming up, okay, of the art, trimming up of the art system sounds too sharp, but like, such an all-encompassing energy that it needs like shaped, or it needs molded, or it needs sculpted in some way. So that could be a great way to work with this time. Any of you who do like sculpting, any of you who do any type of art forms that deal with like shaping physical objects, or shaping even like hairstyling, or anything that is creating some type of physical shape. It's a great way to channel this energy, and it's good for us all to think creatively about what we could do that might help our RX systems to adjust to this time, because something is a strange shape right now, or something is kind of begging for definition, okay? The crisis of undefinability would be at a climax here with Jupiter hitting the energetic degree of Pisces and shifting into Aries. And a lot of people are just going to be like handing in the towel. A lot of people are going to be like, I can't take the pressure of this. This is like diving at such a deep depth, and we want to go to the surface when Jupiter moves into Pisces. So the big question I feel on many people's hearts with this general time, there's a money concern for a lot of people, there's career concern, there's legacy concern. Those are very much at the surface, it feels, for most people. But beneath that, there is a deeper, more human question coming up in the collective to me that I'm feeling a major, like a question of like, why can't I just fix some of these issues with open displays of kindness and love? Why is the door closed to a more amiable or a more peaceful solution? Why do I have to focus this through, for example, career, money, power, resources? Everybody seems to kind of be like channeling through such a worldly kind of coping method. And there is a deeper root beneath that just wants to fix the wounds of the past, or just wants to acknowledge the learning that has happened. So here's what I'm feeling like. People want to be recognized for what they've learned. People want to be recognized for the progress they've made. People want to have an open opportunity to do that. And at the same time, there's this kind of closed channel for this. And this is very abstract channeling, I understand, but it's like the channel that people want to operate through, or have wanted to operate through, perhaps ever since the beginning of Pluto and Capricorn. This could totally be like also a major Pluto and Capricorn message coming through, because the Mercury retrograde is channeling into that, which is the planet of communication. So this might just be providing a very much more conscious translation into what Pluto and Capricorn has been as well. And that's what this Mercury retrograde is doing anyway. So that this could actually be, and for next year's Pluto retrograde as well, this could be like the most primal, the most instinctual, the most base level need as an engine for like an entire network of other complex karmic actions. Let me dissect that a little bit more. We might do so much crazy, like unneeded energetic work, like, working so many jobs, doing so many businesses, trying to be successful in so many different ways, or trying to have relationship success with so many different people. And that's all tangential, it feels, as there's a very much more base primal need that isn't getting acknowledged or isn't getting activated or isn't getting sustenance. And because of that, it's like lashing out in a million other ways, and people are basically wading through a lot of debris karmically as a result of not being able to do something very simple, or as a result of not granting themselves a very easy kind of human level, base level of abundance. And that could be like one of the main lessons of Pluto and Capricorn, I think, is, what happens to people when they can't meet a very base level of their need, or they can't experience love, or they can't experience some level of stability financially or emotionally. What does that cause? And also, how does it affect them far into the future and perhaps for like the rest of their lives? I've seen so many people during Pluto and Capricorn go through intense traumas, especially back when Saturn was in Scorpio. And when we had Saturn and Pluto in mutual reception, okay, that was a severe trauma point for humanity. Like, I'm talking one of the most like vampire and like evil energies, but also like hyper catalyst, like healing energies at the same time, like all kind of like coming about, and very, very intense energetic warfare, I would say, catalyzed by that time. That's like, like 2012, even back towards that period, and then up to 2014, as Saturn was moving through Scorpio. And I saw a lot of people who, through this Pluto and Capricorn issue of not being able to meet their very baseline, like went into huge, like crazy stories where they're now in like crazy, like power hierarchies, or they're in like crazy, I don't know, just self-imposed minefields, because that's really the best way to put it. Like, that's, I would say, one of the difficulties of Pluto and Capricorn is it can be like self-imposed minefields, or it can be like very, very challenging power mechanisms that are hard to navigate, that one put themselves through not naturally, but because of that closed channel relating to a very basic level of need. So the moral, I think, of Pluto and Capricorn that it's trying to teach us is like, you accomplish so much more through baseline and through, for example, being hydrated, having baseline stability, having or offering yourself loving experiences, also knowing when to call it quits on things, not overstaying in things. That's been another big thing of Pluto and Capricorn. And then also not quitting too soon too, like that balance between not overstaying and not giving up on something that needs to be endured, okay? And being able to know one from the other, all right? Because this all like sums together and generates a sort of constellation of gauntlets, or constellation of rigorous, distasteful, or unneeded tangential mazes, difficult experiences to go through, resulting from just a very simple thing being off. So that's probably why we're here in 2022. A lot of people wondering, like, why did I not understand the abundance that I once had when I had it? And how do I, alchemize a different result with that now from a whole other timeline? Like, you see, it starts to get really crazy, and people start to try to breathe life into timelines that aren't alive anymore. Or people try to start rekindling relationships, or rekindling aspects of themselves that have passed. So we have this kind of like self-oriented mission into a reaping of one's own physically imposed timelines. Pluto and Capricorn, interesting. Pluto being the ruler of Scorpio, and Capricorn being the ruler of, Capricorn being the sign of time. Scorpio being about, like the death archetype in tarot, the reaping, the sort of energetic movement of experience and of life. Okay, so that is really what Pluto and Capricorn is about. It's about like reaping certain timelines, and it's about having physical control over that. So it's like a time traveler energy, Pluto and Capricorn, and the timelines that people have gone through from like the period that Pluto has been started in Capricorn back in 2008 until now, and still got quite a bit of time left in Capricorn. And this chat is kind of turning into a dual Mercury retrograde in Taurus, Pluto retrograde in Capricorn chat, which I think is totally appropriate. I'll take it. Because another lesson of this Mercury retrograde in Taurus and this Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, both of these transits are asking us to like consolidate things and simplify things. So for example, I don't need to make an individual Mercury retrograde in Taurus video and then an individual Pluto retrograde in Capricorn video when they're trine. I mean, that's one video. Hello. So it's going to be one video. But, focusing on the last bit of the Mercury side of this impromptu chat, this Mercury retrograde is going to show you what Pluto and Capricorn is signifying for you in the long run, and how well you're doing at navigating your own timeline, and also how simple or complex your material situation is, with a dash of like relationship oriented communication. So very possible to have like communication with multiple people from the past, or with someone that you've needed to talk to. Okay, it is probably an indicated time for closures, or for having that at the self level. Okay, if that's not possible, or if that's not what we feel we need right now. But it is an energy of closure, I would say, and an energy also of closure relating to one's endless kind of consumption or endless need to fill a void. Okay, Pluto retrograde in Capricorn at 28 degrees. And if you're in the US, especially with that being on the Pluto return point, it's like we have to really look at what we're sucking in energetically. We have to look at what we're consuming. We have to really, really pay attention to that stuff, because that's going to be definitive for so much of the rest of it. And I also think that like meanness for the sake of meanness, or any form of unkindness or unwillingness to, empathize with other people, is also at a high with this Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, because it's not the most empathetic energy. It's very like industrious. It's very economical. It's very concerned with easing one's access to resources, materials, and power. Okay, so within that big gaudy energy line that is, it does not notice sometimes these smaller things like love, which is oftentimes manifesting as a smaller, more compact energy, or like resolution, or like ease. Okay. That's what this Pluto retrograde is going to really be bringing up. Just the Pluto retrograde in Capricorn at 28 degrees. The word albatross comes up. The word consolidation also comes up. The money aspect of things is going to be really crazy. I mean, the numerologically 28 is a money number, right? That's like second, eighth house axis, and it's Pluto, Scorpio sign in the sign of Capricorn. Oh my gosh, the global economic picture is going to be wild and crazy. And, I just really recommend for most people to look at where they are and to see where their feet are, and to maybe do some work with the past a little bit. Okay. So why work with the past during a Pluto retrograde in Capricorn? Well, we need to really see this dynamic that I'm talking about here where, how did I feel in that situation back then? And then how do I feel about it now? So basically the hindsight is 2020 situation is healing with this particular Pluto retrograde. And I think that what it's offering by the time Pluto goes direct again, which again, check below in the description box for these dates. When Pluto goes direct again and it gets moving into direct motion and passes these points again, there's going to be some super, super solid people who are so believable, so credible, and so powerful. Yeah, honestly, just powerful. Okay, powerful, powerful people by understanding their timelines, by understanding their legacy, by understanding their heritage, by understanding their trust, by understanding their company, by understanding their family, by understanding their mistakes, by understanding their affiliations, by understanding their geographic location, by basically having it together. Okay. So, Jupiter's moving into Aries, and I'm going to make a specific video about that one for you all. And that's happening this month. Like, we're still majorly in Jupiter and Pisces mode as I'm filming this. And it's about deep level understanding and almost even like dogma about one's own personal story and volition and like how that, ties into other people and groups of people and what the, energetic commonality between many people is. And, for example, constructs like religion or politics or things like that. That's a lot of what Jupiter in Pisces is about, and about making progress there because it's a good placement for Jupiter. But it's moving into Aries, and it's going to become a lot more about, wow, me, one person in my one home, in my one capacity to make certain changes or to go about certain things. And it needs to combine together. We have to understand then how then I as a person fit into groups or connect with others. But I just want to prepare you that where it's going to be at as we get this vital communication from Mercury-Pluto contacts in the month of May, where it's going to be is in self-knowledge that is not arrogant, but understanding of independent personal strengths and weaknesses, okay? And creating almost like a story or an arc or a timeline that makes sense with that. It doesn't sound like rocket science, but that is a powerful place to be, that everybody has the opportunity to be there, where you know who you are, where you know what your challenges have been, where you know what your strengths are, what you bring to the table in a business, any type of family relationship opportunity. And that will speak louder than these actual identity constructs or just that aura. Okay, so here we are, you guys. That's how the aura is cleansed, basically. Because I've been asking this question on this channel now for a long time. Okay, we have some auric hang-ups, some of us, or we have a very desperate need to collectively heal or cleanse individual auras. And that's how it happens, is by knowing who you are, by knowing what you bring to the table, and also by willing to learn more, being willing to take on new understanding of skill. But that's the thing about this late Pluto in Capricorn, is it is difficult to be at square one. Maybe it's safer there because it kind of is not within the energy of an anoretic Capricorn Pluto to be, at the entry-level position, or to be taking that 101 class or something. Jupiter in Aries kind of suggests that, but if we're talking about power-oriented things, careers, legacy building, purpose, ultimate cause, stuff like that, which I know that a lot of you are very interested in. I get a lot of comments that request me to speak about, okay, how do I speak it? How do I step into ultimate cause? How do I stay motivated? How do I, be in my purpose. It's one of my main specialties that I like to work with. It's through the tried and the true, basically. Like, honestly, the stuff you've been doing for a long time shines, and the way that you can apply that in a new way, or the way that in some cases it can transition into another field or another industry. But, this is really a time where, for example, the older generation does well, okay? Where people who just have the age or just have the elderly wisdom are really in the advantage with anaretic Pluto. So I am worried about our younger generations. I'm not like worried. It's not about like stoking any type of generational divisions, because that's also a threat with these transits. But what it is about is like them not feeling empowered, or the younger generation not feeling like they have a place at the table, or not feeling like they have the platform or the voice or the ability to make decisions. I find that to be a major threat. And I also find at a micro level, the inability to acknowledge our own youth, or the inability to acknowledge the youthfulness or the mistakes that people make in youth, right? Where's that at? Where is the understanding of like the infallibility of humans, or the imperfect nature of youth, or the imperfect nature of humanity in general, right? You see what I just said there? The imperfect nature of youth, that's exactly the problem. That's exactly the problem. The imperfect nature of youth. As if elderliness is perfect. Okay, that is the energy of anaretic Pluto and Capricorn. I mean, bam. I mean, that's like a gerontocracy, right? That is where we are. That is where we are in every single way. So the pitfalls of that is not acknowledging youth, not giving them a place at the table, not also not giving people chances after mistakes, wanting to impose severe consequences upon people for being imperfect, stuff like that. This sort of hierarchical arrogance that an anaretic Pluto really, really becomes, I would even say, aroused by. It is another lesson of this Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. So we're going to see people, being really, not understanding of others, like really casting stones, okay, really judgmental energy. And if there's anything that I could use my platform for very deliberately, I would really use it for this. And that is to really ask everyone, can we have more lenience for the mistakes of other people? Can we relate or empathize to the shortcomings of others? Can we reserve judgment a little bit more? Because those are the people, those people who are understanding, empathetic, or less harsh, less strict, less disciplinarian, okay? Those people, I think, will have a more longevity in the long run, because once we get to Pluto and Aquarius, okay, this is the gift of astrology, that kind of hyper-judgmental, aristocratic, or gerontocratic prejudice, I want to call it, basically switches to the other extreme, or we see a passing of that same exact energy into a completely different group, or into a completely different place. So this is like the Aquarius energy, right, where it pours from one canister to the other. So basically, it's kind of like, if we code switch a little bit here, or if we look at this from like the perspective of like somebody who's not in that place, we see it as, it's really hard to be, faced by a non-empathetic person, or it's really hard to be criticized or judged by somebody who doesn't understand. But then if we switch over to the person who is judging, or to the person who has the authority or the standing to impose consequences onto another person, or, the ball is in their court, whatever it is, that's all fun, like when they have it, like when the ball is in their court, and when they have the the essence with which to be so imposing, but that's not so fun when it switches, okay? And that is also something we should be able to see with the past 13 or 14 years of Pluto and Capricorn. And I mean, just in human life, but it's especially demonstrated with this particular Pluto, is like when one has power and uses it unjustly on another person, and then the years pass and all of a sudden that other person has power. No, that's really scary. It's really scary, okay? When someone that misused their power tries to like cause difficulty to someone who's disempowered, and then like years pass, and then that once disempowered person is like in power, and then the person perhaps who misused their power before has less rank than the person that they disabused all that time ago. That's very scary. We're going to be seeing a lot of that, okay? And I mean, this happening at like the smallest level, like just even in like relationships, or in like in family relationships even, but then at bigger levels as well. So it really is a be careful with what you work with, or be careful of what you invite as well. So power hunger with Pluto and Capricorn, lust for influence. That takes a lot of sobriety. And I mean, history just shows over and over and over again how dangerous that can be, and how even like power or hierarchy or rank in the smallest ways can really blow back, like in ways that humans usually cannot very well predict. So bringing that dialogue into the context of this general time period with this Pluto retrograde here in 2022, what a awesome time to humble oneself, to be a ethical and solid wielder of power. And if you do have any kind of power, if you do have any kind of resource, if you do have any kind of authority in society and family, whatever, try to become more of a like fair or stalwart kind of figure within that wielding, rather than a like beholden to impulse, or beholden to whims of want, or low blood sugar attacks lead us to like fire people or something, stuff like that you do see with these anaretic Plutonian degrees, like a 29 degree Pluto in Capricorn. We're going to be seeing things like that, because people really remember, and people really also talk a lot about it, or it becomes something that, people who have been like disenfranchised, or people who have been negatively affected by an authoritative person with low blood sugar, it becomes like ingrained, and it becomes something that they talk about to everybody. It becomes something that spreads, and it quickly starts to generate a fertile environment of dissension towards that person who misused their strength or misused their authority. So this Pluto retrograde, and then this oncoming final time of Pluto in Capricorn during this Taurus season, as we have North Node in Taurus, we have Uranus in Taurus and the Sun, things are going to start growing, okay? That's a psychic image I've been getting lately, is like a garden that grows really fast, okay? And all of a sudden the entire plowed areas are green, okay? What we birth into the world during this time, what we create, what we say yes to, what we plant, is going to probably take off and spread, okay? So not just in such a physical sense, but like through people as well. So this, like a word of mouth businesses would be really strong right here, or social media is a good example of that as well, as things kind of transfer and pass and grow as it is shown to so many people in such a seamless way. That is the energy that we're working with right now. So best it be something high vibrational, facilitating a positive human development, and worthy of your time. So what you're consuming, what you're creating, needs very severely to be worthy of you, to be worthy of your time, to be worthy of your life force energy. And within that choice of worthiness, I believe is going to be healing and is going to be some type of restructuring or some type of better option forward and growth. Okay, growth, because there is a high amount of growth ability with not just these transits that I'm mentioning, but the general alchemy of all of the planets right now being so earthy, being so watery, right? I mean, that's where growth happens. That's how the earth thrives. So just as a kind of fun aside, I would imagine we might discover new plant life, new animal species, new areas as well, like area territories that have never been discovered, like seriously, like have never been mapped, like humans have never explored, like wow, new islands or new, like could even be coming like out of the ocean during this time because of like volcanic activity or because of changes in the world, you know. So there could be like new territories to discover. There could also be a new technology, like brand new. I'm talking like not just like a new version of the iPhone, but like a brand new kind of technology, like as if like the very first iPhone was invented, like that type of thing. And there's going to be a lot of room with Jupiter moving into Aries. It's going to be a very, very beautiful sigh of relief for my fire and air signs out there who are overwhelmed by this deluge of water and earth energy. That's going to be nice, but it's going to be an opportunity for people to explore, for people to discover new things, learn new things about themselves, meet new people. Like that's all coming. Not quite here when this video is going up, but it's coming. And to my water and earth friends who this video is very much driven towards, but for everybody it is driven towards, you know, yeah, there is a highly emotional context to this time right now, and it's really about the self-knowledge and the understanding of how we wield our own authority and whatever level of that we have, okay? And about generating and creating a space and a life that honors our essence. So not, you know, selling out too cheaply, all right? Not just saying yes to the first offer or to the first opportunity. I really feel that this is a time, and we're moving towards a continued series of chapters that don't just require discernment, but really require us to understand, like, okay, am I embodying my highest self? And then there's going to be, I think, a longer journey for a lot of people that takes them to a new level of embodiment, or takes them to a new level of like self-ethical expression, okay? That's definitely happening to pretty much everybody. And I think social media has been a large impediment to that, as so many people talking so impulsively, as is certainly their right, but something that they may not like to be immortalized by those words. But anyway, we need to take care of our expressions and just make sure they're worthy of us and make sure that they honor us, okay? Self-honoring, self-ethical honoring, self-honoring ethical expression is a great, wonderful, unfailing path forward. And anything that revolves around sobriety, fun as well, discovery, human development, anything along those lines is very, very good territory. We really have to watch out for any type of toxic power plays, for any type of also corruption, any type of blurring or forcing incompatibility, past tripping, future tripping, disembodiment from the present, and also, nasty addictions or any type of, again, dishonorable self-expression. Also taking ourselves down a notch, or building ourselves downward to meet another person, or sinking to a mean person's level. Anything along those lines are very tempting, very easy right now. But this Pluto-Mercury trine is calling us to elevate, I think, our expression and calling us to grow into a kinder version of ourselves and inspire that growth in others as well. So anyway, everyone, that's about going to wrap it up, I think, for this video. Thank you so much for sticking through. I hope you enjoyed this. It was impromptu, recorded on my smartphone, not with my fancy recording stuff this time. I'm just kind of feeling it and had it on my heart tonight. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you're new, be sure to hit the subscribe button below. Very nice to be greeting some new subscribers. Thank you so much for the recent wave of people who've just signed up. If you're new to my channel, I'm Sky, and I talk about the world, and I talk about astrology and navigating the human experience. And it is a joy to be able to share this content with you. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and share it with someone if you would like to. I think that this is a good content to share if you feel someone else needs to hear any type of message like this. And I am also on Patreon below. There are some other relevant links as well. And then I would love to hear your comment about what you think about this transit and what you think about many of the themes that we discussed today. So have a wonderful and beautiful day wherever you are, and keep it wholesome, keep it holistic, and very much love. Talk to you soon. Bye.